None. We are now in closed session. Do we have a motion? Oh, no.
Madam
I had to
Chair,
come
we-
out. No, that's the motion,
Yeah.
is to read out. Okay. She's got a.
Pursuant to Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia, I move that the closed meeting of the School Board of Stafford County on January 20, 2021 be certified by adopting the following resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the School Board of Stafford County hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies. And two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the board.
Second.
Madam Clerk, will you poll the board, please?
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Chase?
Agree.
Ms. Guy? Agree. Ms. Halsted?
I'm sorry, I'm agreeing that we're back from closed session.
And
Yes,
that you
that we
all-
didn't
okay,
discuss
I got-
anything
I
that
got
wasn't on the
confused there.
agenda.
Agreed.
Ms. Healy?
Agree.
Ms. Randall?
Agreed.
Ms. Siegmund?
Agree.
And Dr. Warner?
Agree.
Madam Chair, motion passes.
All right. Do we have a motion coming out of closed session?
Madam Chair, I move that the school board direct the superintendent to continue to enforce the universal mask mandate with no opt-out for pre-K through 12 students, staff, and visitors in school buildings consistent with the 2021 Virginia Acts, Chapter 456, otherwise known as School Board 13, or Senate Bill 1303, including exemptions identified by the CDC and the following additional exemptions. 1, individuals eating, drinking, or sleeping. 2, individuals exercising or using exercise equipment. 3, any person who is playing a musical instrument when wearing a mask would inhibit the playing of the instrument so long as at least 6 feet of physical distance can be maintained from other persons. 4, any person who has trouble breathing or is unconscious, incapacitated, or otherwise unable to remove the mask without assistance. 5, any person who has a disability or meets at-risk criteria of those assisting such persons, including but not limited to individuals with individualized education plans, IEPs, or 504 plans under the Rehabilitation Act, where wearing a mask would inhibit communication or the receiving of services. 6, when necessary to participate in a religious ritual. And 7, persons with health conditions or disabilities that prohibit wearing a mask. The school board further directs the superintendent to identify and share with parents the process for allowable exemptions.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Randall, second by Dr. Chase. Before we vote on this, we're going to give everyone an opportunity to discuss the motion. Dr. Chase, would you like to start us off?
Sure. So the reason I requested this emergency meeting was I had questions about laws versus executive orders. And as school board members, we took an oath to uphold the law of Virginia. And so after meeting with legal counsel, for me, it becomes clearer that we need to uphold the law. So I will be supporting this motion. Now, I want to note that there was a lot of wording at the end, a list of exemptions. That's because the health order that was put in place by Virginia will no longer exist, and so those exemptions would go away, and we want to keep the exemptions that currently exist.
Dr. Warner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to support this. I think that,
Oh, all right, Ms. Sigmund.
I am not going to support this as it stands. I think that the parental opt-out portion is its own question and something we need to consider very seriously. I also did not come out of our closed session with a clear belief that we would be violating state law by considering a parental opt-out. I think that matter altogether requires further discussion. I do think that, we should have a mask policy on the books, because ours apparently expired a long time. Our local policy expired some time ago, and we had been following the public health order, which we've learned will go away on Monday. So we do need something to replace that. But I also believe that we should, at this juncture, consider and include a parental opt-out on masks.
Thank you. I just want to clarify that the executive order required that order be rescinded, but I don't think, is there a date? Was there a date on that order? It is on Monday, okay. All right, Ms. Guy?
Thank you. As it stands, I will support it after speaking with our lawyer and listening to just a plethora of information and how the law is written and how she explained it. Her legal advice to us was to do exactly what we're doing, and so I'm taking the advice of legal counsel.
Thank you. Dr. Warner, are you ready?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will be supporting this order. I appreciate that many parents are deeply distressed over the masking, and I would love to eliminate the masks as well. But I also want to make sure that when we do so in a way that's safe and thoughtful and intentional. The legal advice is that we should follow the law, and so I will be supporting this in conjunction with that oath that I took to support the law.
Thank you. Ms. Halsted?
I will not be supporting this motion. Probably my biggest issue with it is that I don't believe this school board holds the power or the authority to remove parental consent on any level of any basis. I agree with Maureen. I don't think that the lawyer successfully argued that the executive order doesn't supersede the law in this case. There's very specific reasons for that. I think wording of the law and its ambiguity is the first part of that, where they say in the law we have to follow the CDC guidance. The CDC does not require mask mandates. They only recommend that universal masking be worn. So on that premise alone, this doesn't sit well with me, and I won't support usurping the authority of parents. Since this board can't take into consideration each individual need of each of our children's and their special considerations, then I believe that the best people to make those decisions are in fact the parents, and that we need to start to respect what we've been involved in for the last 2 years. Has got to stop at some point. I've been very clear on that as well. So I don't support this motion. I don't believe that we have the authority to outweigh a parent's choice.
Thank you. Ms. Randall?
Thank you. I will support this motion in the fact that the EO2 does not supersede the law of the school board, or Senate Bill 1303. I am not in favor of that. It is just, I have to uphold the law. And so that's where my support ends. We were also informed, and it's out there for public, that this is before the Supreme Court. And should the Supreme Court ruling have another decision, then so will this board. And so I look forward to removing these masks sooner rather than later. I do hope that parents take a look at the list of opportunities that may include something for their child if need be. We did read some pretty upsetting things from parents about their students and how they're doing, not just about their feeling, but how they're doing, and they're upsetting. So I really hope parents reach out to administrations, and if that is something that if these outlined exemptions are something that their child could benefit from. But I do look forward to removing them.
Thank you. I will be supporting this motion. Excuse me, we're still in our session, and we have not finished our discussion. We appreciate your silence. Excuse me, we have our discussion now. After our discussion, we will be taking a vote. I would like to state my position very briefly. I'm going to support this motion because I believe that the law is what needs to be upheld here. Now, this case is before the Supreme Court, as Ms. Randall mentioned, and I think some of my colleagues mentioned. If the Supreme Court were to decide that the executive order, had precedence over the law, then this board will be back with another session. But until that time, I feel it's my duty to enforce the law, and I think it's particularly important that the public be aware that there are some exemptions. I mean, it's not just because I don't like masks or I'm not comfortable with it, but there are specific exemptions which we specifically put into this motion so that when that health order goes away, those exemptions will not for Stafford County. And the superintendent is directed, and he will follow up with this to make sure that the process to apply for an exemption and what the criteria is known to all families. I read every email up to the point of going into the meeting, and there were hundreds. We got hundreds of emails, and there's some very sad stories on both sides. And it is my hope that this community will be able to come together, notwithstanding the fact that there's two sides. There's two sides, but we're all Stafford County Public Schools. So I would ask for your support of this board and for our administrators as we go forward. This law is going to end on August 1st. It has a date. If the legislature makes changes to this law prior to August 1st, we will be back here. But as long as this law is in effect, I think, what this board is saying is that we're going to follow the law. So that having been said, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Madam Clerk, will you poll the board, please?
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Chase,
Aye.
Ms. Guy, Ms. Halsted,
Nay.
Ms. Healy,
Yes.
Ms. Randall,
Yes.
Ms. Siegmund,
No.
and Dr. Warner.
Yes.
Madam Chair, motion passes.
All right. Is there any need, or anyone on the board see a need to have the discussion, number 5, that was requested previously? That was for implications of the executive order and the Senate bill on students, given the motion?
It was there in case we would have to make, in case there were changes that the school system would make because we were unmasking. And since that's not happening, we don't need to have those discussions at this time.
Okay, so if there's no further discussion, we'll close the meeting. Thank you.